All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the lunch break here at FNGO. So glad you guys could join us. Start of a new week. It's going to take a few minutes for some of you guys on YouTube and on TikTok to get on board, but we are going to go ahead and tell you guys that we are glad that you joined us. I don't know why my voice cracked and went that high, but it just did. So, had a great weekend out there. I hope you guys did too. Dodged some rain and did some fishing though. Did some fishing. What's up, bearded cat fishing? I see you there on TikTok already. Traveling. Dude, listen. I saw you fishing on your live last night. That was pretty awesome. Look, drone fishing or something like that. Yeah, I caught a little bit of that. But anyway, so glad you guys could join us. Got a lot going on today. And good afternoon to you. You know how it is on Monday. So hard to get the week started when you know, you had a good weekend doing a lot of different things, but this is why we're here. I know Monday's tough for a lot of you guys. Um, I done popped a 5 hour energy. I mean, I was dragging, got beat up this weekend fishing. We're going to talk about that, but I hope everybody got to get out on the water. That's the big thing. What's up, Atlanta Safe House? Appreciate you, buddy, on TikTok. I hope a lot of you got out on the water, was able to experience some fishing, and no matter which way you like to fish, but if you didn't, I hope you had a good weekend. So, we're going to talk about it. The plan for today. We are having a blessed day, Atlanta Safe House. Same with you, buddy. What's up, Doug Rice? The plan for today's show, and we know how it goes. I'm going to talk about 3 fish tournaments, give you my thoughts on 3 fish tournaments. Officially, I am old now, and I'll tell you why. And it's not just a physical thing. And then we're going to talk about why largemouth bass are still the king and not spotted bass. Critters Custom Rods. What's up now? What are you doing, buddy? Jordan G. How you doing, man? Mike Geiger's here on YouTube. So got you guys coming in finally. Ryan just fished a 3 fish tournament. Yeah, I fished one yesterday with Kevin Underwood and got some thoughts on it. But I'm telling you what, oh my Lord, Lake Lanier was rough. And that gets into the old part. All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's get started. As everybody, what's up, Dean? Cletus, I've been cranking and yanking all weekend. Yeah, he's out there doing it. We didn't throw the crankbait. What's up, Tracy Coker? And Kirk, how you doing, buddy? The fishing this weekend, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I fished Sunday and was disappointed. Well, we'll talk about that. It was, I'm telling you, I had my eyes open to a few things. Anytime I get on a boat with Kevin Underwood, I learn something. Let's see. The traveling fisherman, 3 halibut, 7 cod, 1 moonstar fish. Like, listen, I know, I saw it on your live. You definitely weren't fishing the same water as I was fishing, but it was interesting. It was very interesting. So let's go ahead and knock out because I'll tell you what, guys, I'm not going to do the Gen Z word of the day anymore because you know what? I got to thinking about it while looking it up this morning, and I ain't going to talk that way. So, you know what? We're just going to skip that from now on. If you guys want to throw one out there, you can. But I have a hard enough time remembering the stuff that we normally talk about, much less trying to learn a new language, which is what it is, a new language. Fred Ashcraft, afternoon, folks. If I'm going to learn anything, I'm going to learn Spanish. But what's up, Farmer? But anyway, let's go ahead and do Doc Holliday. How you doing, buddy? Let's go ahead and do our This Day in History, and then we're going to jump right into the conversations, all right? On this day in history, August 11th, 1934, this is pretty cool. The first federal prisoners arrived at Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay. Now, what I didn't know, what's up, Lanier C? What I didn't know was that Alcatraz was a military prison before that. I don't know. Do any of you guys know that? Gen Z new word is mid. Rob, what's that mean? What does mid mean? Did you know it was a military prison before they started sending federal prisoners there? Now, it closed in 1963. But I just want to know how many of you guys knew that. But today was the first day that regular federal prisoners went to Alcatraz. And they had a lot of famous people in there. Had that movie made about it, Escape from Alcatraz. You'd have to swim by all the sharks or whatever it is to get off. I'm just glad I never went there, okay? Never went there. Also, too, in 1929, on this day, Babe Ruth became the first baseball player to reach 500 home runs with a homer at Cleveland's League Park. Did you guys know that? So pretty interesting things like that. A lot of other stuff happens every day, but I try to pick out the couple of them that I like or find interesting. And those definitely were the ones that jumped out to me. I thought it was a training camp before it was a prison. I'm probably wrong though. It could be, Fred. All I know is the military used it. It said military prison, but it could have been anything. So you might be 100% right. I just didn't know. Chance Smith, my son is 10. Mid means mediocre or just okay. Okay, well, we're mid here, buddy. All right, so I get why Rob threw that out here. We are mediocre, but we do mediocre well. Oh, John Aldred, he's up in Michigan. Hope everything is well. Finishing middle of the pack, not up to your standards. Did good, but not good enough. Yeah, that's my love making, boys. That's just the way it works. Anyway, I guess we can throw out the congrats because if you remember last week, somebody was asking me about my fishing picks, my fantasy fishing for the elites, and I forget who it was on TikTok. You guys remember me saying, "What's up, Tony?" You guys remember me saying I wouldn't vote against Trey McKinney? You guys remember that? And guess who won? I mean, for whatever your take is on him, it does not matter. You can like him, love him, hate him, whatever. I told that guy on TikTok last week, Trey McKinney. That's who I would pick. He started off my fantasy team, and then I laid some other ones out there. But my goodness, boys, if y'all watched any of that, and I know you're staring at his butt. I know it's not the most exciting thing. That kid can fish. Now, Rob, I saw your comments on his how he talks a little bit. Yeah, he gets to talking a little bit, but dude, I tell you what, he put a hurting on them smallmouth up there. And then of course you had Wheeler. I've got to start watching more MLF because I don't keep up with it enough to watch MLF. I need to, but Wheeler, he got his 10th career BBT win and AOI. So I guess I need to really start paying attention to them. But I watched the elites mostly when I wasn't on the water this weekend. Trey is a stud, flat out. He mumbles a ton though, but he's a stud. I'm telling you, he kid can fish, no doubt about it. So anyway, yeah, that's what happened this weekend. So Saturday I did yard work. I was trying to butter my wife up because I wanted to go fish that tournament with Kevin on Sunday. I must have done a really good job because she didn't even fuss at all when I said I was going fishing. So I got enough yard work done. But we went and fished a 3-fish tournament on Lake Lanier. And it was, I believe, Cooper Moon and Hayden Siebel. I don't know who all. The young guns, the young guys, this young group of anglers was the ones throwing it. And I'm going to tell you what, guys. We'll get to my thoughts on 3-fish. But Lake Lanier, and I know everybody's got their own personal favorite lakes and all that, but Lake Lanier has got some absolute hammers between the ages of 18 and 25. Like, it's ridiculously how good these kids are. And you can say, hey, they're on the water all the time. Yes, they are. You can say, hey, they can't do nothing but scope. I'll disagree with you on that. But you can say it. You can make that argument. But I'm telling you what, you talking about consistent and consistently good. And Hayden and Cooper get a lot of the love around here. But man, you had Parker, you had a bunch of them that I recognize from social media. I don't know all of them. Dude, they can fish. Let's see. Trey is a stud flat out. I got that. Trey's like Wheeler. They're both smash them. Look at Wheeler's history. Like them or not, they're cashing a lot of checks. Yeah. And listen, again, watching professional angling is not my favorite thing to do. But when guys dominate, it is interesting to me. When the Patriots had the dynasty in football, that was interesting because they became like the bad guys, the evil empire. Same thing in baseball. Same thing, for those love Tiger when Tiger was killing it, everybody loved it, but a lot of people didn't like it because he was so dominant. And I tell you what, like McKinney, largemouth bass are overrated. There, I said it, Paul. I'm gonna get to that here. But I tell you what, it's when somebody's really that good, that talented, and I think McKinney is. in just a short sample size, guys. I mean, just a short little sample size. Like I said, love him or hate him, pick a side, but you're going to be watching this kid for quite a while. And what's cool is, I'm sure, you go over to Alabama, they got some young ones coming up. Every state's got this young crop coming up, and I know the old geezers don't like it, but it's coming, and ain't nothing you can do to stop it. Ryan, what did it take to win Sunday? All right, so it kind of gets to my point on three fish. Cooper and Hayden won it on Lanier. Three fish tournament, guys. They had 15.94. 15.94. Now, they had a 650 largemouth, but still, that's only a 650. One like it was a 10-pounder. 15.94, which is what kind of gets me into the largemouth. I'll go ahead and tell you why I said largemouth are greater than spotted bass. It was Paul, Farmer. Paul's the one that said that. What's up, Messick? My old lady took a blade bait in the thumb, and when she looked at it, she passed out. I didn't know what to do, but luckily it went all the way through. I bet that was fun. Three fish was fun. Three fish, we'll get it. Let's see. I didn't do good at the tournament on Saturday. I only had 4 fish for about 8 pounds. Hey, listen, it's crazy. And Ryan won with 15.75. That's what he won with this weekend. So that's why it was impressive. Now, Kevin and I had 3 for a little over 11. We just couldn't get we got 1 4-pounder. We were locked in on 3-pound spotted bass. Couldn't get that big one. Saw tons of fish. Our tournament was won with 84 inches. What's that equate to? What's up, Gone Fishing with Ed? What does 84 inches equate to in pounds? You got to understand, I'm a boat guy, so I don't understand all that. I know there's estimates. I know John Aldred, if he's on here, he can tell us. But 3 fish tournaments. Let me just go back and say this. When you see these kids pull up and they got those fish, and I was going to say, I'll go ahead and jump on the largemouth thing. Everybody on Lake Lanier, anyway, we see the 3, 4, 5-pound spotted bass. I don't care who you are, what time of year it is, whatever. You guys that fish Lake Lanier know this, and Allatoona as well, whatever. When somebody pulls out a big largemouth, everybody goes, ooh. Everybody goes, ooh. There's something about a plus-size largemouth that still captures everybody's attention. And that's kind of what I meant by largemouth being greater than spots. I think spotted bass fight a heck of a lot better than largemouth. I think pulling them out of 40 foot is watching the drag reel. But there's still something in our psyche as anglers here in North Georgia that and maybe it's because we're not on pure largemouth lakes. But if you go on Facebook, look at the 2 spotted bass they're holding up beside that. And it was only a 6.5-pound largemouth, but everybody went, ooh, when the largemouth came up. There's still something about us that screams largemouth bass. Largemouth bass are still the drawing point. We just watched 2 tournaments where guys were killing smallmouth bass. Now, let me rephrase that. We were catching a lot of smallmouth bass. They were catching a ton of smallmouth bass. They were just absolutely hammering them. And it's nice. And somebody holds up a big smallie, and everybody's like, ooh, that's nice. Yeah, that's like, everybody holds up a 5 or 6 pound spotted bass. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Somebody holds up a big largemouth, and we all get a little dumb in our responses. We're all like, ooh. Alyssa caught a 5 the other night and a 4.3 last night, and I caught a 3 last night, all largemouth, Mason Roach fishing. Yeah, pretty cool. Around 12 to 14 pounds is the equivalent to 84 inches. Okay, I got you. That's pretty cool. That's still good. But there's something about it, at least in North Georgia. And maybe it's because of the lakes we fish. But you guys think about that. If you're on Lanier, you're on Allatoona, Chattooga, Notley, all of those lakes, any lake in North Georgia, any of our highland reservoirs, and you're fishing a tournament, you know what I'm talking about. Somebody comes in, everybody's got spots for the most part. Everybody's got spots. When that big largemouth gets pulled out of a bag, people will stop conversations because I saw it myself, yesterday, people talking, and they pulled out, and it wasn't but a 6.5 pound largemouth. And everybody just stopped and went, ooh, look at there. Look at that big largemouth. I caught all my fish on a shaky head. Hey, good. Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't throw the shaky head much. Green pumpkin purple. You know, it said green pulling purple in your comment, but I knew what you was talking about. Farmer says, I like having coming to a ramp and having a bag full of largemouth. You can't win without a big largemouth. It does help. Now, it goes back to the 3 fish tournament that I was talking about. But seriously, and we weighed our fish, and as I was walking to the ramp, Hayden was coming back up. And you know what question I asked him? Dude, what'd that largemouth weigh? And he goes, 6.5. And I'm like, man, that's impressive. You know, it didn't matter the age of the kid that caught it. It was still a 6.5 pound largemouth coming off Lake Lanier. But I watched guys, and so I was thinking yesterday while I was watching them weigh in, spot, largemouth. I'm telling you guys, everybody just stopped. And for at least 10, 15 seconds, had their eyes glued on that fish. Now, Messick says they just have a different build in the spot. Yes, they do. But like the spots here, man, look, you can have a 16-inch fish, and it's just like a football, and it weighs 5 pounds. Got second place Saturday off the Coosa River. All my fish came off a June bug, shaky head worm. Gone fishing with that. That's awesome. Ryan, our spots are small here, so it's all largemouth tournament-wise. Yeah, and that might be it. That might be why I'm saying that. You know, maybe where you're at, since it's all largemouth pretty much, if somebody came in with a 6 pound spot, you guys would be going, ooh, something totally different. But here it's the opposite. There's so many big spots. And man, we saw some spots yesterday that we caught and others weighed in. Every one of them, their stomachs are just so big and fat. They're just so healthy, them herring eaters or whatever they're on. But on a 3-fish tournament, now here's my take on 3-fish tournaments. A lot of guys do them in the summertime. And they do it for conservation reasons. That's the reason a lot of people give. It's hot. You know, we don't want to put stress on the fish. Well, I can tell you right now in Lake Lanier, with that live scope, fishing Lake Lanier ain't a problem. Like if you can't find fish on a scope in Lake Lanier, now you might not catch them, but there's plenty of fish. But I thought 2 things. Number one, and we all know this is the obvious. Anybody can get lucky in a 3-fish tournament. Bust a big largemouth, especially on our spotted bass lakes. And this is not what Hayden and them did. But you can bust a big largemouth, and you pretty much just got to catch 2 regular 2-pound, 3-pound bass to go with it, and you probably are going to finish in the money. You probably are going to win the thing in a 3-fish tournament around here if you got a big kicker largemouth. So the 3-fish kind of thing, and that could go anywhere. You could have the most inexperienced guy in his very first tournament. What's up, Kevin? In his very first tournament, and he gets lucky and catches, just say, an 8-pounder. And then he's got 2 2-pounders and 12 pounds, but everybody else caught 3-pounders, and they got 9, 10 pounds, something like that. It's very hard in the 3-fish tournament to eliminate that. I think the 5-fish tournament, 5-fish bass weigh-ins kind of eliminates some of that, because anybody can get lucky. It's like the first time you take somebody deer hunting for the first time in their life, what always happens? 10-pointer. You know, they got one 140-inch gross deer. They get lucky, and then they're ruined for the rest of their life because they expect that to be the standard. But in a 3-fish tournament, you can have that. Titus Williams, a 4-pound spot is all muscle. A 4-pound largemouth is all body spots. Titus, you're right. Yes. No, it is. I'm just saying, when somebody holds one up, we all do that. We all do it. Largies have been coming to play for me lately in Lanier. Now, I've noticed that too. Sinclair and Oconee, I never recalled catching a spot until I moved to Atlanta area within recent years. Always largemouth. You really got to get – it's in a – I mean, there's a few lakes down there, but Atlanta North. That's when the spots come into play up here. Different types of lakes. All muscle and got the cushion for the pushing in that gut, 100%. I want to see a 6-pound spot over a 6-pound largemouth. Yeah. But I'm just telling you, at weigh-ins, man, I just see it all the time. Guys just stop. They did. It was ridiculous. But here's another thing in the 3-fish tournament in the summertime. To me, and there's others that share this opinion, the tournament isn't just about catching fish. keeping fish in the live well, keeping fish alive, keeping fish active, all that fish care, that's supposed to be part of the tournament. And if you can keep 3 alive, you can keep 5 alive. I think a lot of people just go to 3 fish and then really they don't care about, they think they're doing great because they're only going 3 fish. We're helping out the fishery, but they really don't stress. Now, I will say this. Now, I can't say that with Cooper and them yesterday because I heard 3 fish, no dead. And when I released fish yesterday, after that tournament, like all ours swam off. I didn't see any out there floating up, dead. But I'm not even going to read some of these. Ain't nothing like seeing a bucket mouth come up. The heck with them rat spots. Caught a few largemouth Friday night on Notley with a spinnerbait and 10-inch worms. Guys love head and seeing that old largemouth noggin just makes their jaws drop. Seriously, that's about it. But I believe in a tournament, if you can keep 3 fish alive, you can keep 5 fish alive. Now, there's going to be some that will disagree. And if you say, hey, it's hard, maybe I'll give Scott Barnes on Lanier some credit. He don't run his tournaments through the summertime. Now, maybe that's a solution. But to me, tournament fishing is more than just catching fish. It's fish care and keeping your fish alive. And so to me, 3 fish, 5 fish, 4 fish, whatever, it all plays. It all plays. And I think if you go to 5 fish, it does eliminate that one guy being able to just get lucky. And maybe it was luck, maybe it wasn't luck, but one guy catching a true monster and basically winning the tournament on 1 fish. I've always heard that spots are easier to catch than largemouth. I think the pressure from live scope has been changing that, though. I don't know. I mean, it could be. What do you recommend tossing on Lanier and Young Deer area for night fishing? I'll give you what everybody else is doing. Big Colorado, single blade Colorado spinner bait, slow rolling it on the bottom. Big worm, and I'm not talking about an 8-inch trick worm. We're talking about your old monster style worms. And I don't know how good this is, but I've heard a lot of people catching them on underspins here at night recently. That's not maybe what I would do, but I've heard that. You cannot beat the strength of a spot. Largemouth usually just come up and head shake. And cameraman Cletus said a 10XD. You netted a couple for me, Underwood. Yeah, listen, I told you I'm the best net man in the business. But I guess Clint's answering yours, Ed, a big 10XD right now because he's been cranking. And he was cranking this weekend, and he caught a bunch of them. Thanks. My next night tournament is coming up there. Well, if it changes between now and then and we get some more juice for you, we will definitely share it. Chuck Thrasher, glad to have met you finally at GON. You too, sir. Absolutely. I was telling, now I know we've had our run-ins in the past. But for my part of that, I'll go ahead and publicly apologize to you. Shook your hand up there, and I hope all is well with you. But I was talking to Dane. I'm like, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. I've actually never met him. Spot choker makes a nighttime underspin. Well, I mean, it's an underspin. Lane Wholesome back. What's the top water bite on Lanier like right now? I can tell you yesterday it wasn't. It might have been for some other people. We caught some on the fluke. Now, I do consider fluke kind of a top water bite, but if you're talking about throwing out the old simple chug bug, e-pops, all that stuff, it wasn't existent yesterday. The bite on tuna was rough Saturday night. I can believe it. It's just that time of year, dude. Let's see. Picked up a couple, Alex, but haven't tried them yet. I wish I could find some more night tournaments to fish. Well, them night tournaments are about to end. There ain't too many more of them going to be on. But what's up, John G? How you doing, buddy? I got one topwater fish on Saturday on I guess this was Allatoona, maybe not, on Saturday at 9 o'clock, and that was it, a largemouth. We didn't see, gotta love the fluke. Yeah, we did not see any big schooling as far as, you know what we want to see, where they come up and blow up and stay up. Now, we saw a few here and there come up. On the scope, you could see them come up. But, man, I'm telling you, the second they got near the top, right back down. Right back down. The fluke was, in certain areas, the fluke bite was better. And that's something Kevin figured out along the way. Interesting to see how he does his fluke. See, that's the thing about learning, going with somebody and learning. I went with Kevin yesterday. I've never worked a fluke like he works a fluke. And it was pretty much, he's reeling it and giving it kind of an Alabama shake, if you want to say, the entire time. Where I learned to throw a fluke out. You throw it out there and you pop, and you get to do that big, long, almost like glide bait kind of thing. But I guess it being a herring fishery, fast was key. But even then, you don't know how many times on the scope yesterday, I saw fish in 30 or 40 foot of water on the bottom. And we had some fish up here in the middle of the water column. If we saw that, we threw flukes. But Kevin will tell you, I don't know how many times I saw a fish come out of 30 or 40 foot when I threw a fluke over them. I mean, come up like a missile being shot. Boom, straight up to the top. And if for some reason they get about what looked to be like a foot away from your fluke or whatever, boom, right back down. Don't matter the size of the worm, it's how you shake it. I guess so. Same way, caught all my fish yesterday skipping weighted wacky worms under docks, all largemouth on Lanier, surprised me. We didn't have much topwater action Saturday morning on Notley, just random here or there. That's kind of what we saw. My gosh, boys, it got windy yesterday, though, and rough. Good Lord. We'll get into that here in a second. Let's see. Last Thursday, fishing schooling was everywhere. Went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, absolutely nothing. And that's the way it was. Robert Brett's kayak tournament here in Pennsylvania. $10,000 first place prize. Check out the Susquehanna Fishing Tackle for details. Only $150 but buy-in. But with that, you get a free 13 fishing rod valued at $100. Tournament September, so get in early. Limited number available. So you guys go check that out. Susquehanna. And Lord knows you guys, I can barely pronounce it. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. But SUSQUEHANNA Fishing. Go check them out. So they got a kayak tournament going on. Pretty cool. I guess you can fish it from anywhere. But that's why I said, Lord, I did catch my first offshore fish on Lanier Saturday, a 45-foot shaky head. Listen, they were fish. I'm just telling you, in the timber, above the timber. That's what that live scope shows you. But, man, some of them yesterday, they didn't want to play. And if they did play, again, we saw a lot of them fly up, get right behind our baits, and turn right around like they wouldn't commit. And the boat on top of us, ridiculous. It was like the only place to be on the lake. Yeah, Rice says it was tough on Allatoona Sunday. Top water wasn't happening. Kevin McShann, I don't know exactly, but Kevin, how you doing, buddy? So yesterday, Kevin and I were in this one part of the lake and we're fishing. And here come a boat pulling, I can't remember if it was skiers, and they were all young. My goodness, they were all young. Oldest person on the boat had to be seemed like 22, 23 years old. Guys, it would have made a lot of you mad if you knew how close they came to Kevin and I while we were fishing. And they weren't the only boat. The problem was the kid that was skiing kind of let go or something right beside us. When I say close, I'm talking take a weightless wacky worm, and you didn't even need cast braid, but you could just go, thump, and you could have put it right in their boat. That's how close. And listen, there was a ton of water on one side. We were not dead center in the middle of this channel. We were off to one side. So we were about a third of the way out. They had 2/3 of the entire lake to go, and they came, right by us. And it was like, Kevin is very, he's got a good temper. Now, I didn't really say nothing like that. We didn't lose our temper, but we just kind of looked at each other and just laughed, dude. We were like, oh, my Lord. Had a Skeeter bass boat blow out my spot first thing and then over 30 to 40 jet skis around me all day. No doubt. It was like that. Lanier was ridiculous on the big water. Plus, it had some wind. It was windy first thing in the morning on Sunday, which by the time all your pleasure boaters come out, I saw jet ski look like clubs come down. A big 10 of them at a time, just zzz, together. Kind of feel like topwater stinks in general compared to last year around the same time, probably so. I was catching largemouth yesterday up a creek in 5 feet or less in water on a shaky head. Yeah, it might have been the way to do it. It might have been where they caught that 6.5. I didn't ask them. Frogs are coming, bait fish everywhere, fish are ambushing, so get their attention and make some noise and get them agitated. And the wind was brutal on Allatoona also. So, there's a couple reasons why I put in the comment section that I'm feeling old. I'm feeling old. One is because in the comment sections the other day of a video we put out, somebody called me Pops. I finally gotten old enough to where a young kid in the comment section on TikTok goes, Pops ain't lying. He's spitting out straight truth. And I thought that I've been called chubby. And now I've been called Pops. So now I guess the gray hair, the gray beard. I'm only 53. This right here is what marriage does to you. All right? I blame this on my wife, even though she is by far the better half of our marriage. But I got called Pops. Kevin Underwood said, I ain't been called Pops yet. Like, seriously. I'm not that far off from getting AARP mail. I think that stuff starts coming at 55. I'm an OG at 57. You're only as old as you tell yourself. Robert, no doubt. That's what, listen, I have a 53-year-old body, but I am going on about 18 to 21 mentally. At least ask my wife. That's what she'll tell you. But he goes, Pops, spitting straight truth. And I'm sitting going like, oh my gosh, I am officially old. My son gives me comments like that. Yeah, Doc Holliday, I'm Pops to my grandkids, but I'm plus. Yeah, you're a little older than I am. But I guess that's a milestone in a man's life. It might not be a good milestone, but the first time some young punk looks at you and goes, Pops. So anyway, chubby and Pops, all in 1 week, guys. All in 1 week. My confidence is crashing. It's crashing. No, it really ain't. I thought it was funny. I know some people get offended by that, but I thought it was funny. Now, you want to know how really old? Yes, Kevin just put it in the comment section. Probably sore after the boat ride yesterday. I feel like the best way to describe the way I feel is if I let every one of you guys take a metal ball bat and I just threw my hands up and you guys come from the backside and just absolutely take a swing. Because now I trust Kevin Underwood driving a boat probably more than I trust anybody. Okay? But let me just tell you this. Kevin sends it. He sends it. When he goes from one spot to another, he's got business there and he's going. And it don't matter how rough that lake is. Jarrett, 14K, how's it going? Went out on Allatoona on Saturday and caught about 22 pounds on a freeloader with no forward-facing sonar. Oh, Jarrett, congratulations to you, dude. That's a bag on Allatoona with or without forward-facing sonar. But without forward-facing sonar, that's something, dude. Congrats to you. Absolutely. That's awesome. But, dude, he sent it. And there were sailboats and all your jet skiers, but all them wake boats out there and all that. I don't know how many times my back come about, I don't know, an inch and a half to 2 inches off, maybe a little bit more of that seat and then slam back down. But I am probably 2 inches shorter today than I was yesterday at 7 a.m. because my spine has been compressed. And I'm telling you what, now, again, not one time did I ever fear for my life. Not one time was I worried about Kevin wrecking. But I'm telling you what, there was a couple times I'm like, my goodness, I wish everybody else would get off this lake because Kevin is sending it. And then it was like, I'm so sore, guys. Now, remember me a couple weekends ago when I talked about paddling that kayak around? I said, no, that was child's play. I wonder why the screen looked like there's not as much in it as it used to be. Well, in all fairness, Josh told me to back up that camera a little bit so we could get our buddies at Groove Fishing in. But seriously, I'm telling you what. Boom, 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 bam, boom, 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 bam, bam, bam. And I'm sitting there just walking off ATX lure. Dude, I'm trying. My wife got a new treadmill too. I'm going to walk when I get home. I'm going to do that for Cletus. But I'm telling you what. That was the roughest I've ever been on a boat was yesterday. And again, and then one time I had a Seville come loose because I had just, and Kevin will tell you this, I had just cut it off and was retying real quick. What kind of boat does he have? It's a Phoenix. It's a Phoenix. Every time I go to the south, then it gets rough like it was yesterday. I'm not as agile as I used to be. And it reminds me every trip. Yeah, absolutely. Remember, old age is a gift, and that I'll get to enjoy. I'll take pops any day. Yeah, I got you, dog. You're 100% right. At least they ain't calling you Gramps yet. I do have a grandchild on the way. And Kevin fished wide open to the end. It was one more spot. It was like 10 minutes left. And so we go flying up to this spot. Kevin's fishing. He's working, man. He's working hard. How much time we got left? I said, we got 5 minutes to weigh in. All right, keep going, keep going. And he goes, Kevin, it's 2:58. We got to weigh in at 3. 2:58. We got to weigh in at 3. Now it's not a long run from the 369 bridge to Van's Tavern, but I knew he goes, all right, let's go. I knew. I said, we're getting ready to end this like champions right here. And it wasn't so much the winning bag. We are sending it. We're sending it. And by gosh, he sent it. I don't know how many times it felt. Now I'm not saying the boat did. But I don't know how many times it felt like that boat got airborne yesterday. But as an inexperienced boater like that, I just felt like there were several times we were the Dukes of Hazzard coming through there. And Kevin's in total control. It ain't nothing to him. And I'm over just like, what's up, Alyssa? Just bouncing all over the place. My little chubby butt. And we had a Seville. I was saying about the Seville. I bit a Seville off and I threw it down wet. Somewhere along the way, I lost a rod. I had a rod fly off the boat during one of these Dukes of Hazzard expeditions or, periods that we were doing. We got to a spot and I looked at Kevin and I went, I think I'm missing a rod. And my rods were right beside me. So at some point during all this, I had a rod fly off the boat. So, but it's okay. It was okay. But this Seville come flying across, got hooked in my back of my shoe, got hooked for a second on my tackle box that was sitting, my little carrying tackle box that I take with me on the floor down there. And so I'm trying to kick my foot up, getting it unlocked, unhung from the tackle box. It finally comes unhung from the tackle box, and then it proceeds to act like it's a flaming school of yellow jackets on the back of my leg going, pow, 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 pow. Just those hooks were going, it didn't stick in me. It didn't stick in me, but Kevin's just looking, he's flying, like that. I'm just getting, that thing is just stinging the daylights out of me. These little Seville hooks, the front hooks were just boom, boom, boom. If you look at the back of my legs, I had all like ants on it from all these little bitty, just pop, 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 pop from a Seville. Now we finally got where we were going. I noticed a missing fishing rod. I took a pair of scissors. I cut the Seville loose in my shoes, but it all happened. I know at one point my sunglasses case ended up under Kevin. It was rough, dude. And, but yeah, I'm telling you what, the man sent it. He ain't scared of no waves. I'll put it that way. But, there's a couple of times. And I see you guys talking about up there. They now have shock absorbing seats. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have them on his boat. Now, maybe when he gets a new one, they'll have it. But I'm telling you, Andy Miller, Kevin will school you on how to drive the boat in rough water. He might be on the verge of crazy. It is absolutely on the edge, Andy. It is on the edge. I'm serious. Like, not once did I think that I wasn't going to make it home. But I will say this. There's a couple of times I looked over there at him like, he's going to go through that, ain't he? We ain't slowing down, are we? And no, he didn't slow down. I think my old lady is crazy because when we run like that, she's just smiling and holding on. Well, if she was going to smile yesterday on the big water out on Lake Lanier with all them boats and the wind and the waves, she might be crazy. But when you got to go, you got to go. This ain't no kayak. That's right. I fished with Kevin when we had a hurricane close by. It was windy, and he was driving the keel off that thing. It was fun. It was fun until that daggum Seville started stinging me in the back of the leg. I'd say driving the wheels off, He was. But what was interesting, disclaimer, guided. Okay, yeah. Now, for all you guys thinking about booking a trip with Kevin, this is a disclaimer. Guided tours are not tournament trips. All right. So he would treat you better. Yesterday, he had a purpose of where he was going. But I had a lot of fun. But then I got out of the boat and we started walking up. We were watching everybody weigh in, all that. I talked to Ken Pruitt, my buddy. He come up to watch the, he come up and watched the weigh in. We got talking for a while. I got home and I told my wife before I left Saturday, because I had a great day of yard work Saturday. And I said, I'll do some more stuff when I get home. She goes, you ain't going to do it. You're going to go fish and you're going to come home and you're just going to lay down and act like you're tired. I said, no, I won't. No, I won't. Well, I got home and she just got this new treadmill. So I had to kind of adjust it a little bit and the box and all that. She put it together and all that. And then I sat down for just a second because I was going to go out and cut grass. Well, a couple hours later when I woke up, let's just say that, it beat the daylights out of me. But it was so much fun. And what was pretty cool is a lot of the bites that we got were right out there in the middle of all that stuff. I'll say this. If Kevin's fishing offshore, you offshore. You're offshore. But the bite was so weird yesterday. I mean, it absolutely was so weird that just the fish were really having a problem committing to a lot of the stuff that we were throwing. And I don't know if that had a lot to do with the wind and the boat traffic. I don't know what it was. I mean, he works that scope better than anybody I've ever seen. And so we're on, and I'm watching what he's doing. You guys know every time I talk about going fishing with somebody like Kevin, I try to be a sponge and absorb it. But the fishing on Lake Lanier, and this is what makes these young kids so good. Well, I think they're hammers. They figured out how to catch fish regardless of that. And we caught fish. We just didn't catch the right fish. But a scope shows you how fish react, of course. And sometimes what they do doesn't make any sense, no matter how many times you've been fishing. And I think Kevin said it a lot yesterday. They just ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then you'd move out to a spot. We went to spots that I fished with Kevin before. And, they acted a certain way one time we're there, and they weren't acting the same way the other time. But it's really weird. That's what scope shows you. Because I'm telling you, if when you hear the word cheater box and all that stuff, if it was that easy, guys, we saw 11,000 fish yesterday. I'm telling you, the amount of fish in Lake Lanier is ridiculous. Now, 11,000, that's just, I'm throwing that out there. There is nothing more frustrating than 10,985 of those fish not biting. It's not easy. It is not easy. But we did get a sense of what they were doing. And what was pretty cool is, Kevin did figure out over time if the fish were sitting a certain way, throw a fluke. If they were sitting a certain way, we go down at them. But it was totally cool. But the fishing on Lanier is just different. It's just different. Robert Bates. Smallies were hitting in tiny bites. 1/8 ounce fire tiger perch in 5 feet of water on rocks and grass mats. Three rod casts, and they smacked them as soon as they it says 3 RD. Oh, third cast. He had a space. Third cast, and they smacked them as they touched the water. Yeah, I mean, I bet so. But if you don't make those adjustments, that's the difference in catching them and not catching them. Well, now, seriously, that's it. And that was a pretty cool thing, is watching how guys do adjust on the water. It is watching, and that's what you have to learn when you go with somebody. If you take a guided trip with a well-known guide, pay attention to that, because their job is putting you on fish and trying to get as many fish in the boat, and they've got to be able. We talked about it the other day. I think it was Friday we just talked about that. They've got to be able to make those adjustments to be consistent. But, he did hook one big old striper. What was it? I said big. It's 12, 15 pounds. But they ain't nothing. Like the second he hit that thing, and that drag didn't stop. And we're like, yeah, probably got a striper. And he fought it for a while. He goes, if this is a spot, it would have been crazy. Well, see, okay, Robert Bretts, look for current and bait fish. Well, see, that's the thing, Robert. We found bait everywhere. Everywhere we went, there was bait. But what's roughly a full day cost to go with Kevin, Hogan said. Best way to do it, Hogan, is reach out to him at Lipsticker Fishing, and I normally got his number. In fact, let's see. Hold on a second, and I might be able to get it to you. Let me see. Media assets. I'm going to give you his number right here. 678-459-8419 or email him kevin@lipstickerfishing.com. That's about the best way because I don't know if he's still on there or not. Oh, okay, he did. $400 for one person. $400 for one person. Look for current bait fish. Look for oxygen-filled areas, grass, and vegetation. I need to pull that down. Hold on a second. I still got his thing up there. Let me double click on that. I usually got guys doing this, so I'm not the best at it. Did you guys see Kevin's video? Now, if you want something interesting, go to Facebook. Go to Lipsticker Fishing on Facebook. He did some underwater filming. That's the best way. We're going to leave it at that. Kevin said he's got the best rates on Lanier, and you'll have a good time. I promise you'll learn something. Watched my dad struggle by being a one-dimensional angler, and that's what pushed me to learn different techniques. Not only catch fish, but ask yourself why you caught that fish. Absolutely. Robert Brett says, I keep records of everything. Do you? If you're asking me, no. But we have a fellow down here by the name of Tim Hancock he has recorded probably every fish he has caught since the 80s. Time of day, time of year, water temp, depth, water clarity, bait, you name it, he's got it. And he's got volumes of information. I keep trying to tell him, let me have it so I write a book. I don't think he's going to let me do it though. But no, I'm not a record keeper. A high wind on Lanier is a different animal than any other lake I fish. It will change you after a day on the lake. It will. Especially, and I forget exactly what it is, but if the wind comes, the way Lake Lanier lays, if the wind comes down that chute, Ryan always called it that chute. Had to take high winds on Lanier. I mean, it's hard to take high winds on there. It was, yeah. And I'm not saying it was 20 to 30s. I have been out there with guys in that. It was just a consistent wind, but it was a lot of boat traffic. So the combination of the two was rough. But anyway, if you go to Lipsticker Fishing, check out his video. And the coolest thing about this video, it's roughly 10 to 12 minutes long, somewhere there. Might be even a little longer. There is a section in that video where you can see spotted bass and giant gizzard shad swimming together. Giant gizzard shad. And I say giant gizzard shads, you're talking 10, 11, 12, even bigger inch gizzard shads swimming around with spotted bass as if they were kind of schooling together. Was one of the coolest things that I have seen in a long time. And Kevin asked me if I'd seen the video, and I'm like, no, I hadn't seen it yet. He hit me it was Friday, I think. And he goes, check out the gizzard shad with the spots. And Kevin goes, I keep zero records. It's always different. Kevin said, yeah, seriously. But to see those gizzard shad with those spots was like something that I don't think in my mind I would have expected. I did not have that on my bingo card. And this is on Lake Lanier. And there's also some sections in that video where it looks like what you're seeing is the bottom. And sometimes you are. But there's a couple of times where it looks like you got clear water and it gets very murky, hazy. Guys, that's the thermocline. He could have put that camera underneath it, but when he went down in that dirty water, you couldn't see nothing. That's how definitive the thermocline is. You got to go check that video out and see if you can spot it for yourself, because Kevin and I were talking about it yesterday. You actually can physically see with a camera where the thermocline is set up in certain places on Lake Lanier, because the water above it, Lake Lanier water. Thermocline, water below it, murky. Looks almost like the bottom. It's so nasty and thick. Now, you'll have to reach out to Kevin for the exact areas where it's like that. It wasn't like that everywhere, because I watched the whole video. But there's a couple times he was like, yeah, it looked like the bottom. Yeah. He goes, no, that's the thermocline. That's where, and there's bubbles. We noticed yesterday there are some bubbles starting to come up in places. And we're not saying, and he definitely ain't saying Lake's going to turn over this week. It's not. We ain't nowhere near that. But we are a lot cooler than what we normally are in August. We are a lot cooler. Water temps yesterday were 79. That's the highest we've seen. Farmer, remember 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, it was 89.9, almost 90 degrees. And that was at Thompson Creek. Well, we saw it 79, and we were on the south end pretty much flying all over the place. And we didn't pay a ton of attention to it, but I asked him yesterday. He said 79, he remembers being the highest that he saw. So, but go watch that video for the gizzard shad number one swimming around with spots, because that's something right there that blew my mind. You would think spots, guys throwing these big glide baits and stuff. Do you know roughly how much Brooks charges the charter? I do not, and I don't know if his dad's still on here. But just reach out. Lanier, are you Tracy's boy? Because if you're Tracy's boy, I'll text your daddy. I'll find out. I'll text Brooks's number to you. I don't know what he charges. Okay, so Lanier, yeah, I'll find out for you and I'll get it to your dad. That'd be about the easiest way, because I don't want to speak for him and I don't know the answer. There's a thermocline setting up in some areas at Latham too. Temps, current conditions, wind time, vegetation changes in the area. That's what Robert does. Thompson was 79 to 80 yesterday. It's crazy. It went from bathwater to feeling a lot cooler. Okay, how's that changing the bite? Now, for Hayden and Cooper yesterday, it didn't change it. If anything, it made it better. You guys realize, hey, we need to go to Fish Chickamauga again like we all did a few years ago. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Maybe throw us a little tournament up there or something. I don't know. But that'd be fun. I have not been to Chick since then. I'd like to go back. Absolutely, I would. Andy Miller. Okay, hey, Lanier. His dad just said his website has his prices. So go to brooksandersonfishing.com and check it out right there. So his dad's still on here. He said that. Have you ever fished Hard Labor Creek? Yes, I have. Big electric only reservoir for an electric only one. But go what before we kind of transition into something else. Farmer says he's down, so we'll all do that. We'll get a chick trip. Go home and tell your wife that. We're going on a chick trip, honey. What do you mean you're going on a chick trip? Oh, well, a bunch of us guys are getting together. We're going on a chick trip. See how that goes before you finally tell her it's Chickamauga and see what she says. But go watch that video Kevin's got and see them big gizzards. Because, I mean, y'all saw what McKinney and all these guys are throwing, and Cass come out with a new one. And so they're all going to gizzard-style baits, these longer 7.2s and bigger baits. But I'll have to take the new boat. Heck yeah, take the new boat there, babe. Chick is on fire. I'd like to go. But y'all see what McKinney was throwing up there on them smallmouth? It wasn't these little bitty minnows. He had some big ones tied on. You might notice that honeypot area changed, and now it's in a different location. Oh, okay. You're still talking about all your taking the writing everything down, the information and all that. Could two guys split the 400 and go together? Just curious. John, I'm going to guess no, but reach out to Kevin and ask him directly. And Pontoon Jody Catfish, hello. Well, how are you there, hon? Appreciate you joining us. But just go check that out and see if you can spot. See if on Kevin's video you can spot the thermocline. See if you can spot it. Pretty cool, if you ask me. Now, we're not going to tell you what he filmed it with or none of that stuff. That's all off record. But just see if you can go find it. If you can go find it. Hard Labor Creek, it's down a little bit as far as the weights. Of course, like a lot of lakes do that. They start off really, really good, have a lot of big weights. It gets fished a lot. Largemouth Lake. The thermocline was around 20 feet at Lanier. I saw it as deep as 45 feet. Yeah. Thanks for making cat fishermen feel welcome. We're all welcome here, except the fly guys. I'm just kidding. You guys are welcome too. But you know what? Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Everybody's welcome here. We're all one big happy family. I mean, I'm sure a couple of us get grumpy from time to time. Yesterday, the thermocline, I will say this. I don't remember. I'm trying to think back yesterday watching the scope. There were some places, like when me and Farmer went, we saw it very easy on his live scope. I don't remember seeing that on Kevin's, and it could be the settings. So Kevin's settings might be different and all that. And it might have been there. He might have just known where it was at. But I didn't see it like normal. You bring up an interesting thing, Robert. This Yankee is a Southerner by heart. I always start with the seasonal knowledge of what fish should be doing and making adjustments. Um, that's under we're talking. You're talking about keeping a lot of facts and stuff like that. If you fish closer to the dam, there's not one. We didn't see it. And the fact, Robert, that you eat grits, if the fact that you eat grits makes you okay with us. In fact, that's the first. Anytime somebody comes in my shop, Robert, this is honest truth, and they say, "Hey, where you from?" And they say anything north of Dahlonega, Georgia. I call them that Y word, and I'm joking around with them, of course. But we get talking about where they're from, and I say, "Well, I won't hold that against you." Yada yada yada. Just joking around. But I always ask them same question: do you eat grits? And if you eat grits, then you're okay with us. That's all that matters in this world. Do you eat grits? Doesn't matter where you're from, as long as you eat grits. Danny, the thermocline was deeper down. We're down there where we were. Yeah, it was a lot deeper. Um, Sinclair has a huge gizzard shad swimming around the docks, circles around dock lights. I'm talking about 2 pounds each and more. Go watch this video. Go watch this video with the spots, and you'll probably see some of their cousins. Yeah, I get it, Farmer. Yeah, I know he's got the 34 versus 32, but just there were some things that I didn't see though, like I could see with yours. Uh, in the next 2 months, we'll be talking about the turnover. When do you think it's going to take place? If I'm a bet man and I got to throw money off right now, late October. I guess it just depends on the weather, but I guess I would guess Octoberish, late, and then it just depends on what part of the lake too. So I don't know. Like it depends. Some of these electric only reservoirs, like Latham, they'll flip a little quicker or a little later depending on the temperature. But I don't know how this cooler weather. You think it's going to be sooner? It could be. It could be sooner this year because it's so cool. It's so cool out. It could 100%. You could be right. That was what was interesting. Normally, I would say we would have high 80 water temps at least through August. See you, Farmer. At least through August. Wouldn't that be the norm? What do you think? Hurricane coming through triggered a turnover last year. Yeah, it could. I don't know. I don't know. You can make your best guess. And at the end of the day, it's just that. It's like anything with nature. I think once we think we got it figured out, it changes. But yeah, I don't know. You could be 100% right. But I would say, Kevin, what do you normally think? Late October normally is about when it would turn over. So by that time, you guys up north, y'all's getting ready to start freezing. Bless y'all's heart. Y'all ain't got but just a short fishing section. No wonder the smallmouth are killing. But anyway, so with that, once Kevin answers that question, I think we've gone about, I don't know, about an hour, and it being Monday, I got a lot going on. I'm going to make a post because I got to remember, I got to get the names right and everything. But anyway, we got a couple of young bucks from Gunnersville that are going to be on tomorrow on a live well. Get those frogs ready. It's about time. So we're going to do that. Now tomorrow, we'll have the lunch break again. We'll see how sore I am. Historically, the north end mid to late October, south end mid October to November. So that's about right. I was guessing about right. We'll be interested to see if it comes. Now, if it's weather dependent, I'm going to love it because deer season's on. Deer season's getting ready to be here, and I want it to be cooler. There's nothing worse than bow season kicking in and it's 98 degrees. Nothing. When I was younger, I'd get up in them stands with those mosquitoes and all that. As I've gotten older, I'm not that guy no more. So anyway, guys, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna call it quits today. Got some work got to do. Appreciate you guys joining us for an hour at lunch and everything today. We'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be caught up with my work. We can talk a little bit longer and just do the stuff that we normally do. I think it's going to be a long summer, Robert Brett says. Interesting. And you're in Pennsylvania, right? I think that's what you said. It's very interesting how different perspectives from different parts of the country can be. But anyway, I'm going to go to work. You guys have a good rest of your day. Join me tomorrow at lunchtime. Bring some more stuff. Let's talk about it. And warm temps going to be going around for a while. Could quite possibly be. You might be right, Robert, 100%. With this colder August, it might be earlier if these conditions hang around. So that's interesting. 2 different parts of the country, 2 different perspectives. But anyway, you guys be good. Enjoy the rest of your day. I know Monday's the hardest one. Monday and Fridays are the hardest ones for me because Mondays we got to be here, and Friday I'm ready to go. But appreciate you hanging out for a little bit. I'll throw out some more topics, whatever hits my mind for tomorrow's show. And go ahead and plan Tuesday and Thursday night, 8 p.m. Join us on the live well, and I'll make some show posts on the Fish North Georgia group page about who all is going to be on this week. But it's going to be a good week no matter what we do. So you guys be good. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. You guys be good.